Hi there everyone, my name is Yehon and welcome to Yeho Studios. And in this video I'll be teaching you how to create a robot in Blender. So let's get started. Shall we jump into Blender then? Okay, so when it comes to this robot, you are going to follow this block out that you see on your screen. It's going to be, God willing, a robot with a head, 2 hands and 1 tire, or it's going to move on 1 wheel. That's what we are going to create, so let's just have that in mind. Okay, so then let's start. Now with this robot, we are going to start from a cube, okay? But first of all, let's get the dimensions right. So I have to create a new collection and we'll call it robot for now. Sorry. Okay, at times when I start modeling or start creating any character, it's good to know the dimensions. Alright, you want to find out how tall an average human being is. That will help us know how tall we want a robot to be. So you can see from Google that the average male is 1.7 meters and the average female is 1.6 meters. So basically the average height is 1.65 meters. That's just so in Blender. From here we can check, scroll down till you see this part 10 to meters. That tells us that every box here is 1 meter. So then this is telling us, Google is telling us 1.7 or 1.65. So it's about as tall as, yeah, so it should be about 1 meter tall. Let's make it that. So about 1 meter tall. So the average human being is around this height. You can use the measure tool to do that. So an average human being will be around this height. Okay, so then let's get to it, shall we? So that means this cube, let's do it as a reference cube for now. So I'll name it as a reference cube. Drag it into the robot collection. So now remember, you can check the dimensions when you press N, and the dimensions are here. You can modify them as you wish. And if in case you miss any key that I press on the keyboard, you can see it here. Alright, okay, so let's go. So by default in Blender, the default cube is 2 meters tall, which is quite big in relation to what we want. So we'll reduce the size. First of all, to make that successful, we'll have to make the origin come down here. So how do we do that? By default, you can see the cursor is where we want it to be. So all we have to do is go to set origin to 3D cursor, and that's it. So then you can now modify it to the height we want. Because since we said we want it to be about 1 meter tall, you can make it like this. Yeah, that's about 1 meter tall, and wide about the same size. Let's make it 1.15 meters, and let's make a robot like 1.4 meters tall. Make it 1.3. Just choose your general preference. Reduce. Okay, that should be about it. Let's make 1.15. Alright, so then this is the height. This should be the basic height of the robot. So with this, since this is reference and it won't really appear in the final render, what we can do is make it display as bounce, and then we can choose to disable selection by doing that. So you click here, enable this mouse kind of icon, then just make sure it's deselected. So now no matter what you do, you can't select it in Blender, as you see. Alright, so now we go into the actual modeling. We add a cube first of all. Alright, then we want to find out how big the head will be. 2 meters is way too big, so let's reduce it, shall we? Let's go for something nice, suitable. 10.5 meters will be okay. Drag it up to where you want it to be. About 1 meter should be okay. Yeah, and I think this is good. We can base it off from here. So yeah, this will be about the basic height of the robot. Let's just make it 0.6. Okay, that's beautiful. So, or 0.50. Yeah, this is all right. And you see the dimensions also reflect here. Very good to keep in mind. So then, I would like to save. Let's save the file. It's a good idea to always do that. So I'm looking for a folder to save this in. Create a new folder. This robot, today is Sunday. Today is Sunday, and in Ghana, this robot is going to be feminine. So a female robot, a female born on Sunday is called Esi. So you can call this Esi-bot. And you can just call this Esi-bot. Alright, so then we save the Blender file. Okay, so let's start modeling, shall we? Usually it's good, I like to give it a bit of a bevel, so you can just adjust the size here and then the segments. It's also a good idea to put on random color in the viewport and turn on cavity. I like to turn on shadow, but at times this may slow down your computer. So if it does, just keep it off. It's not necessary, this is optional. This is just my personal preference when it comes to doing things like this. So you can always adjust this. Alright, so we have something like this. So this is the robot. You can name this Cube 001, or just name this head. Alright, so then we got the head of our robot. Now if you follow the block out that you saw, let me put it here. I believe you see this on your screen. It also has a tire. We are going to build basically out of the block out and increase detail as we go on. You understand what I'm saying? So all we have to do is reduce the radius. Bring that up here. I think that's a good spot. Alright, 20 geometry. Alright, then I think this is good. Okay. Yeah, so you can start from that. See that, then you can also duplicate that, rotate it on the X 90 degrees. It's 90 degrees, sorry, rotate on the Y axis 90 degrees, bring that down, press S, Shift Z or Shift X, yes, to scale it on all the axes but the X axis, so you get that nice and uniform scaling over there. Scale it, bring it up. See that something's going on there. Oh yeah, that's because of the shadow. You can just turn shadow off. So that was because of the shadow. Yeah, the bevel is having. The reason why it's doing that is because the scale is not applied. So once you apply the scale, yeah, that should work fine. Yeah. Okay, that's just this for now. Let's work a bit on the head. So we want this robot to have 2 eyes, 1 mouth. I want it to also be on some sort of screen platform or some sort of screen basically. So how do we do that? Well, we have to create a Boolean object, of course. In Blender, Booleans are basically ways of cutting holes into objects, building them off of actual meshes that are available in Blender or that you can model. So I'll just have to create a new collection here, call it Boolean or Booleans or Boolean objects, and place it there. So then I want to cut it beautifully over here. So what you can do is go to edit mode, select this face, Shift S, and then cursor to selected. So that means whenever we add a new object, it will automatically be placed at the 3D cursor. That's how it's been programmed to do in Blender by default. So we want the cube to appear here. We add that cube, yes, and then you can scale it to our preferences. So let's go something like this. Of course it's too big at first, so we can use this. Okay, for now I believe this is all right. So I can click out of that. We'll name this Boolean cube.001. And also I like to keep that tool as the mesh data name. Okay, so then to cut it, we add a Boolean modifier. So we go to add modifier, generate Boolean or Boolean. Take the eyedropper tool. I want to select this Boolean cube. Fine. Okay. So in order to see it, you have to hide it first. Then beautiful. We see that it creates a hole for us. If yours is not appearing, you may have to change the solvers between fast and exact. At times that helps solve that problem. I don't know about you, but mine looks too big. I would like to edit this whilst we are able to actually see this. All you can do is just display it as bounce. Yes, and that should help. So now we can scale it, scale on the Z axis. Nope, scale shift Y. Yes, that's fine. I think somewhere there should be okay. Really need to be brought up, perhaps. Okay, so you can hide this. I like what it's doing here, but I also like some sort of crease, you know, when it's meeting 90 degrees like this, at times it's not satisfying. It doesn't look nice. That is my personal preference. So how do we do that? You unhide it, clear the boolean cube, and we add a bevel modifier to this. You see it creates this because its scale has not been applied. So when we try applying scale, yep, that should work. So then we increase the amount to your personal preference, putting some segments. A few should be okay. And when we hide it, yes, that looks nice. Maybe let's increase the amount a bit more, 0.05. Let's multiply that by 2. Let's see. You can shade auto smooth this. Good. Maybe that's a bit too much. Let's just reduce it. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I think this is good. Just like to have a bit more at the corners there. Yes, that's fine. All right, so this is the head of the robots for now. Okay, so this is where our screen is going to be. Now let's get back to the legs, shall we? Want to think of how it will look like. So we can add a cube for this one. Add a mesh cube. You see, by default, because we place a cursor there, it goes there, but that's not where we want it this time. So we can do that by holding Alt and pressing G. That will reset the location of the cube. So then we scale it and place it to where we want it to be. Let's go somewhere here. This is basic editing. This is just your personal preference. Set origin to geometry so that it comes there. Let's go see here. Okay, you can also scale it here. Beautiful. So just scale Y. Press A. All right. So then you want it to be kind of curved in a way. So what we can do is add the loop cuts by pressing Ctrl R, left click once, and left click again to confirm. We move it up a bit. Ctrl B to bevel, so it creates a curve kind of. Or instead of doing this, you can also use a circle. How, you may ask? This is how. Or add a mesh circle, bring it down below here, rotate on the Y 90 degrees, scale it down, and you just basically want to place it where you want to place it. So okay, nope, where is it going to? It says selection, cursor to selected. Good. Then I want to place this selection to cursor so that it's right in the middle. Alright, so then by default this has about, you can enable statistics to help you view the number of vertices, objects, vertices, edges, faces, triangles in your scene. And when you're in edit mode, it turns it, it calculates it based on your scene, edit mode based on the object selected. So let's go on, shall we? You want to delete this lower half and just get that part. Beautiful. So then, or you can keep it and bring it down. Yes. Beautiful. So that's the basic leg shape. So you just have to get your height right. Sorry. Make this a face by pressing F. We can add a solidify modifier by going to add modifier, generate, and go to solidify. Can increase the thickness here. Beautiful. So that's the basic leg shape. Just reduce this. Alright. So this is how it will rotate. Looking good. Now when usually I'm modeling, I'm creating characters like this, modeling. In the modeling process, it's good to always add a mirror modifier. That just makes your work easier, especially where your character contains symmetry, where it's the same about on both sides. So I add a mirror modifier, and see by default it gives us this, because the mirror modifier is working based on the, how do you call it, the axis, the local axis of the object. There should be a way to view this. You see, because when you press GXX, you see it goes up. That's what the mirror modifier is using. So it's mirroring on that X up there. So all you can do is, what I like to do is usually add an empty. Go to empty. Just make it simple, a plain axis. Reset the location of that. Go here, go to a modifier stack, and in this mirror object you want to select that empty, and beautiful, it mirrors on the local S axis of that empty. So you see when you rotate it, as the axis is changing, it also changes on that axis. Okay, so this is what we can do, and this is it then. So you can do more to this. Let's edit this just by bringing that face up, since we see some intersection. Yeah, good. All right, so that's for this. Okay, then we can add, duplicate that, bring that down, bring it here, and rotate it. Alright, this 1, 2, we can rotate it on there. You have to change this to active elements, rotate X. Beautiful. So I like this part to be longer than this part. That's how, just look at your legs. Your thigh is smaller, is in terms of length, than your actual calf. So you can do this by pressing SXS or selecting this, pressing GXX to go on the local S axis of that object. So that's beautiful. So then, this is the basic mechanics of the robots. Okay, so this is how the robot is. You may not like what you're seeing, so I would like to add some more thickness to that. It looks too, just bring that here a little. Alright, so that should be good. I just want to make sure that it's placed in the right spots. I want to calculate the center for this. Good. Then I can use that, place it there, and just move it here. Good. Alright. Close that gap. It's good to always put the mural modifier first. In some cases, if you don't do this, it may cause some errors. You may not like what you are seeing in Blender. So then, you can also add a bevel to this. Yes. Good. So then, all right. So they don't look so sharp. All right then. So that's it for the legs for now, or the one wheel actually. So it's going to rotate on this. These two are helping rotating on the Z axis. Let's go back and work on this here, shall we? The back face is what I want to work on. I'll have to hide the head and select that face. I want to shade that face flat. Unhide it. Beautiful. We don't get that again. And whenever we shade smooth, we get that. Just keep it like that for now anyways. So then, I believe that's it for today. We'll continue in the next part of the video series. This is just part 1 of a couple of video series on showing how I did this robot as you see on your screen. And with that in mind, till we meet again, for now this is bye bye. Adios.